CPTv. I know, 7 already. It seems like we just started this a few weeks ago.
That is wild.
It was actually 7 weeks ago, believe it or not.
So your jokes still get me.
Yeah. So another Sunday night, another episode of CPTv. We are super excited for all the stuff that we're going to be talking about tonight. Air, what was your favorite thing from this weekend?
Oh, favorite thing from this weekend. Well, yesterday there was a lot of outdoor time. I know for us, we ended up making a makeshift water slide world with a hose action down the slide. Kids loved that. They felt like they were, not home. So that was pretty cool. And then last night, I was just telling Eileen, actually, we were able to go over and socially distance hangout with our neighbors, and they set up an outdoor movie theater with a projector screen, and it was just really awesome to be able to have the kids. So our family had blankets and sort of 2 chairs near the fire and it was fun, and we got to talk and communicate, and it was just really nice. What about you?
Yeah, I was going to say getting to hang out with some neighbors was awesome. Definitely that socialization is a great thing. This weekend has, it's kind of been busy from a work standpoint and a few different things going on for me and us. So super appreciative, Aaron, for going and doing the grocery shopping this afternoon. And then we are deep in Harry Potter book number 1 right now. And Dominic is loving it. And so that's been really cool. So we just did that before we went to bed. Yeah, those really cool things.
Yeah. And we wanted to, as we always do, if we do any fun little games like we're going to do tonight, I'm so excited for tonight's sort of little giveaway. But last week we asked anybody who was watching and who enjoyed our episode on pain to just share the episode that they were watching. And then we have a book. Oh, I thought I just lost it already. So it is called Painful Yarns. And so I just want to go ahead and pick the winner. There were 15 shares. So that's awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you for sort of getting CPTv out there to our communities and your communities. So we will send this book to...
Drum roll, please.
Yeah. All right, Linda J. So thank you, Linda, for watching and sharing to your community. We so appreciate it. Hopefully you love this book. It's a super easy read, and you can look out for it this week. So anyway, I wanted to get right into it. We are so excited. Our neighbors, one of the most, what I think, talked about fitness studios in the Capital Region, they're here with us tonight. They are going to share so many, I just think their philosophy is amazing. And so without further ado, we have Eileen and soon to be Pat from Anatomy. Oh, sorry. Yep. Anatomy, Fitness, and Yoga. Here they are. Oops. All right. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. I got nervous. Hold on, Eileen. I think I didn't hit stop stream. All right. Thank you so much, Eileen, for coming.
Thank you. Hi. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you. Thanks so much for taking time out of your Sunday night to join us.
Thank you for having me. And Pat will be down at some point. Anybody who has a small child understands bedtime, so I don't need to say anything else.
We just had someone last week, I think it was last episode or the other episode, Dominic crept out of bed and was over my shoulder and then over Aaron's shoulder, and people were like, that was awesome. So we completely understand, and that is awesome.
The unpredictability.
And I feel like one thing that we are sort of facing too is that it's getting, or it's lighter out the later it is. And I know that the kids are sort of programmed by the sun up and sun down. Tonight, Cora's like, it's not dark out, it's not bedtime. I'm like, yeah, but it's CPTv. You gotta go to bed. No other way around it. But so one thing we wanted to just start right out, because I know a lot of our listeners, some may know you, they definitely know of your studio. And please give us a little background of how Anatomy came to be and what, sort of take us down your path. We find that the way businesses start are just so exciting.
So, I mean, we can go way back.
Yeah,
but really, I have always been interested in movement. I played soccer, I ran track. I loved just being outside, hiking, running. And when I did a college tour, to be real with you, 7 undergraduate schools before I graduated, took a long gap year or two because I had no idea what I wanted to do. But movement was always something that I loved. And then I found out that there was a school in Buffalo, University of Buffalo, that had an exercise science program. And what was really cool about that is there were a lot of different areas you could go into. It was a pre-physical therapy program. So a lot of people went into PT or OT. And then there was the general track and the nutrition track. So I went in for the exercise science track with the concentration in nutrition, thought maybe I'd want to be a registered dietitian. Everyone in my family is a teacher. I was the only person that didn't go in that direction. So being an RD felt like a really responsible thing to do. And I just didn't love it. I was interested in nutrition, but just not in that capacity. And I had my first semester, I took human gross anatomy, and that was just so fascinating. And to be so in depth with the body and actually having the opportunity to work with cadavers was just a game changer for me.
Wow.
Really my respect and love for the body, which was so cool. And then I was working in a fitness studio, a big box gym. And then I moved to a smaller, more private studio, more one-on-one clients. And then we decided to get married back here and move back here. We lived in Buffalo for 8 years. And we moved back here. And there was just always this piece of me that wanted to open up my own studio to be able to express what my vision was and what my experience was. And that bug was always there. And then we had an opportunity to rent a really small space. Pat was working at the VA hospital. I was working full-time for Lululemon, teaching part-time. And there was this tiny little space for $500 a month. And we were like, that's a lot of money. Can we do it? And we're like, okay, this is our chance to try. And, we didn't really know what to call it at first. What was the name going to be? And I'm such an exercise science person. I just love the field so much that anatomy spelled a little different, just felt like a natural fit. So anatomy was born. People call us anatomie, and so it's all good. It's fine. And then the people showed up. We put classes on the schedule. We borrowed money and bought 8 spin bikes. And the first night we had a wait list for both classes. And we just realized we had such a strong community of people behind us that wanted to see us succeed and wanted to see us do this. So that is the biggest thing, is to have your support system. And I'm really grateful that we have those people nudging us and believing in us.
That is awesome. That's a great story. And I love that, you recognize like the community and the community presence behind you, because in the seemingly short time that I feel like we've gotten to know you guys a little bit, that consistently is one of the things that we pride ourselves on at Choice, is our internal culture and community. But that is every single person I talk to that has some experience with anatomy, that's what they say too, is it's like a family, it's a culture. And so I love hearing that, it's awesome.
And I think you can have a really great business model and you can have a really great product or a great service. But if you don't have community and you don't have that connection to your people, it's not sustainable. You have to have, and you said internal culture, and that is so huge to us. And, I'm grateful that my husband was working at the VA hospital at the time. He realized that he wanted to do this too. And he'd already been a certified personal trainer and training for a while. So it was just an easy transition for him. So to be able, and I'm sure you both understand that, to have 2 people that are so passionate, and then you have family members and friends that are so passionate for you, to just open your doors, it naturally, I think, brings in these really incredible people. I don't think it's us. I think we kind of have the space and they just fill it. It's amazing. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
That I was trying to think of, I was sort of Pat, who was still working at another location, and same with us. Joe and I had the itch. We actually worked at collectively probably 5 or 6 other physical therapy practices, which we are so grateful for and thankful for. We were like, yes, love that they did that. Maybe a little tweak that, all these experiences. And then Joe, we both opened, but I was still always at the other location or at the other job. So then finally I'm like, when can I get all in? When can I? So at what point do we both jump in and leave all other? Because that's a risk. It's scary to know that that's your, the last, like you're all in with choice, you're all in with anatomy. But since I would never go back, I'm so fortunate that is Pat there?
Oh, he's here.
Yay!
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Hey,
Sorry, I'm a little late.
No, that is okay. All right, I'm gonna
mascara and my hair down. He's like, "Oh, you got dressed for
we
that."
we going out? Like, where we going?
Absolutely, you guys should. Like, I'm gonna get you guys over to a better. Give me a moment here. Sorry, Joe. Say goodbye.
Sorry, Joe.
Bye, Joe.
Awesome. Should we let him back, guys? Oh, there he is. This is so cool. Well, Pat, as we were saying, thank you so much. Sunday nights, we know they're holy. We know they're family nights. We know that you could be like, Ellie just went to bed, so you guys could be sort of kicking back. So thank you so much for being here.
No, this is great. Thanks for having us. This is fun.
Awesome.
So we were just talking, Pat. Eileen kind of shared a little bit of where anatomy started, kind of your background, and we were saying how much we love everyone that we talk to that has experience with anatomy. And it's that internal culture, it's that community. And Eileen was saying how important that is behind you. And I feel like, for our talk tonight, whether you're talking about a rehab program or a fitness program that someone's on, I feel like that sense of community and that culture also helps with like some of that accountability and helps people to be like more successful with their programs. So that's kind of like,
totally,
what are some strategies that you guys use to kind of foster that, or, how do you develop such a great sense of community over there?
I honestly think it's from, we have a very approachable kind of model. We have a really talented team of trainers. And within that, we modify, we adjust, we remind every single person that walks in, this is not our workout, this is yours. And if that means we change something completely to suit you, great. So I think from the beginning, people know like we're here for you. And then I think that lets their guard down a little bit. And then I think when the guard's down a little bit, they start to realize that there's all these other people that are there for them too. And I think people come for themselves to start, and then they get so ingrained with the people that they sweat with and move with. We spend a lot of time, prior to everything kind of going down in March, we did a lot of teamwork, group work. And so it was really cool to see people supporting each other and high-fiving each other and cheering each other on. And they had just met, a week before. So,
and then everybody becomes friends, and then they hold each other accountable. Be like, hey, I'll see you Saturday, right? Yeah. Or I'll see you tomorrow. And if they're not there, they'll call each other out on social media or something. Like, hey, where were you? And it's just, everybody becomes friends and, family almost.
Yeah.
And it's really awesome to see. We have such a diverse group, but everybody's so friendly, and it's awesome to see that camaraderie. It's great.
It's funny you just said friends. That's exactly what Eileen said about, I don't know, a couple hours ago. Because I said, so what do you want me to call? And we have a couple conversations before we go live just to be a little more prepared. And I was like, what would you like me to call some of your, what I was like, members and clients? And so I was fumbling with the words, because even for us, I don't feel like the people that we're helping to move well so they can live their life are patients. They turn out to be, we see them 3 times a week for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's more like, where are you going tonight? What are you doing later?
Yeah.
So, and Eileen goes, they're actually like friends. So you guys are blessed to have this studio full of friends who you also get to make healthier and feel better.
And it goes, and like, I think community is so general, and then it can be so specific. And I think for us, what we have found is community's been there when we've experienced loss in our family. Communities when a friend or a client is diagnosed with cancer, and the rest of the people in their class are the ones cheering them on, checking in on them. And I think that's been the coolest and really powerful thing for us to see, is to step back and to see these relationships forming and this support. And that is just like that to me is community. We may not all have the same goals or come from the same place, but we care. and they're kind, we're kind, and really it's about the people first.
And everybody's going through something, you know, whether it's they had a bad day or, you know, something small like that or something even on the bigger scale. And everybody's just there for each other. And it's awesome. It's awesome to see everybody pick each other up and motivate each other and carry them through.
That's awesome. I'm a big geek, if you haven't learned that about me yet. And so there's this study that was done, and Google basically looked at like what makes the best teams and what makes the best communities. And they were like, well, it's got to be like all this expertise.
Oh, wait, we lost sound.
Oh, can you hear?
Any better?
Can you hear us?
I'm guessing not yet.
Oh, I just heard, can you hear us or no?
No.
No. All right, you can click off and then come back on. Here, hold on.
So I'll kind of talk it through. So essentially, while we're waiting for them to jump back on, what the coolest part about what Pat and Eileen just said, was when Google did this study, like what makes the best teams? It wasn't expertise, it wasn't credentials, it wasn't the amount of time that people work together, but it actually boiled down to psychological safety and social sensitivity. So like, are you in a group of people that makes you feel comfortable, that makes you feel supported? And everything that they just talked about was that. Essentially everything they said, like whether you're going through a situation right now, whatever that might be, knowing that you're in a group of people that you know has your back makes all the difference in the world. And I think that's a huge part of kind of what we try to pride ourselves on, but also it sounds a lot like, you know, what's going on in anatomy, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was funny how they were mentioning how people want, you know, they're doing the classes together. Although our patients can't necessarily plan when their treatments are together, they still love when they see the same people, because some people all sort of want mornings, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But then it seems that, you know, for whatever reason, they just happen to be there at the same time. And that does end up happening a little bit just organically in physical therapy as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that, you know, when you listen to them talk, like, you know, Eileen, I think, said we have a great team of trainers, you know, and it's about the team. It's not, you know, it's not them. It's not, even though they play a huge part in it and got the ball rolling, giving credit to their team, and, you know, calling the people that come there friends. And, you know, those little things seem like tiny details, but the devil can be in the details, and it can make a world of difference. So I'm really excited for the rest of the conversation with them.
All right, they're back. Phew.
Here we are.
Better?
We just wanted you to get really excited about what was going on.
I don't know how we can answer their questions with
building the anticipation. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
We can get close to.
Hey.
Awesome.
All right. So basically what we were saying is, so Google did this study, like what makes the best teams work together? And there's all these different subunits that work at Google. And was it credentials? Was it expertise? Was it length of time in the field, length of time that people work together? And it wasn't any of those things. It basically came down to, did the group have psychological safety? Like, did the group members feel comfortable that other people had their back, like willing to be vulnerable, willing to you know, put themselves out there? And that's exactly what I heard when you were saying, like, if someone's through something, like, we've got you, hey, I'll see you on Saturday. And the second one was social sensitivity, like being there for your person, like picking up if someone's having a bad day. So we were just talking about, you know, how cool everything that you just said kind of resonated with that geeky study that I just cited. Yeah.
I love it. And it's so true in the vulnerability piece. That has been like my word this past year. I think Pat's made fun of me for saying it maybe too many times, but there is something about the vulnerability. And I think when you go into a fitness studio, at whether you've worked out, you know, for 10 years or you're brand new, it's vulnerable. You're putting yourself out there. You're putting yourself in a place to maybe be critiqued or cued or coached, which is not always, you know, comfortable for people. And then you're also going into a brand new environment. So how can we make people feel really comfortable off the bat?
That's intimidating.
Yep.
You know, going into
100%.
years, you know, stepping into a culture that's, you know, already been solidified. That's intimidating. You know, it's, am I going to be accepted? You know, and that takes a lot. And we're very accepting of everybody, and we try to make everybody feel at home and just make them feel like their best selves every day.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I want to come back to that because I want you to go over a couple more things sort of regarding that. But I also want to tell all of your viewers, and I can't think you guys have an army out there. I mean, we have our people, and they really support us. And the second you shared it and everything, I want to thank you. And then so we thought of how can we give back to everybody who is also taking time out of their Sunday nights. And Eileen and Pat, this is amazing. They are offering this $100 gift card to come to Anatomy, and we're going to draw it tonight. We don't want to make you wait a week for this, so and it can be used towards any of their virtual classes, memberships. So what we thought would be fun, or any other merch or anything that's in the studio, is if you just share. And thank you, I already saw Kristen, awesome.
Yeah, Kristen.
Yeah. I love it.
If you want to give her some competition, go ahead and share this live feed. And right before we wrap up, we are going to pick a winner tonight so we can get that out to you. So thank you for that, guys. It's awesome.
No, this is great.
Love it.
This is great.
Love it.
Cool.
Actually, Susan just said, Susan OConnell, can they describe what types of exercise routines they have? Such a good question. What we offer at Anatomy is training style classes. They can be anywhere from a boot camp style class to a high intensity interval training class. We also offer a lift program, which really works on slower movements, more strength-based movements. All of them are modifiable. So if you're a beginner, we really focus on form, technique, movement first, and then intensity. And then we also offer indoor cycling, and we offer yoga. So there's a little, were three things that we were passionate about. A lot of people ask why those three. I was a spin instructor and a personal trainer, and Pat loves music and loves the sweaty piece of cycling. So he became a spin instructor as well. So we both love cycling, but really my background's in strength and conditioning, and yoga is where I find my calm, my presence, my grounding. So it just was a natural fit.
I love all those different options. So like one of the things I think, whether it was what you guys sent over to us or Aaron's title, I think it was what you guys said. And it was something to the effect of like finding your fitness or finding the right fitness for you. And I love that there's so many different offerings at Anatomy.
And
so
there's different combinations. Like sometimes people can't just come for cycling. They've already got some maybe program that they do somewhere else or at home. So they love the indoor cycling. And then we have some people that they're just there for yoga. I would say a majority of our clients are there for all three. So all of our class packages and memberships, you can mix them. It's not like you sign up for one thing. We really encourage people to try everything out. But I think the coolest thing is you can wake up one day and be like, you know what? I'm not really feeling like that high intensity class. I actually want to take some yoga. I need, to stretch or breathe or meditate. And so they can do that. And so we really, it's been a challenge, and it's always a challenge to make sure you're balancing how many classes you have. Is there enough yoga? Is there not, is there too much cycling? So try our best, but we do have a lot of options.
And that's the best because, so our thing at Choice is move well, live life. And we talk a lot about the role of the nervous system, and a lot of people when they're in pain, and the sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight response. And I think that's an often overlooked piece, in my opinion, in maybe exercise in general, but especially fitness. Is I think it's everyone's like, you've got to be up here all the time. But I think what you mentioned is some days, right, having the option to do an easier workout and how important that can be. Can you talk to that a little bit? I love that you said that.
My first, really in-depth experience with personal training, I worked for this incredible gym in Buffalo, and the owner, he was really big on every training session has an equal recovery session. Like that's just how it is. For every single client that walks through this door, you train, you recover. And your recovery could be part PT, it could be chiropractic care, it could be massage, it could be your yoga. But this isn't like 7 days a week, go, go, go. Because at some point, whether it's a couple months from now or 10 years down the road, overtraining, overuse, injuries, lack of motivation, fatigue in all its extremes, it will hit. And I think when you're in your 20s, you can kind of get away with it. And then things start to shift and things start to change. And I think it's really important for us to practice that as well. You know, I try and move a little bit each day. I don't heavy train 7 days a week. I don't heavy train 5 days a week. I'm a 3-4 day a week. And then I like to get my movement in with yoga, a little bit of cycling. And I hate to use the term balance, but that's what it's about. Like, we move to be better in our life. Like, anatomy isn't anybody's life. You know, fitness, there's the term fitness is life, and sure, but it's not. Like, it's how can we use fitness and movement to better support our lives, to help us get up off the floor with our kids, to help us get out of a chair, to go up the stairs. You know, it's all of those things, to hike. You know, we have a lot of people that hike or run, and they use their movement to support that. So it's how are you supporting your life outside of the studio?
I think that can resonate so much with me. And I know some of the posts that we sort of wrote leading up to tonight, because I'm that person, and I'm always that person on all of these talks. Joe, why are you never that person? That one who has tried. I've just recently, and I've loved them for the moments that I've been there, but I just have not, and I can say I've not yet been a member of Anatomy, but I'm looking forward to it. But
there's no pressure, but we welcome you.
I've already told you. But I tended to, I think it was because there was, which it's still, for me at the time, things worked and it didn't, but I always found myself looking for something different, and I didn't get that in the different routines that I was doing. So then I yo-yo, and I'm like, well, I'll pick up running today, which I just did this, you know, so it's tough to sort of find, and all you said to me was, you know, when we talked, was that that's okay, and you need to find a place that it's okay to do it 3 to 4 times a week and not 6. And it's okay to take some yoga classes if you're sore or tired from a tough weekend or tough week, and then when you're feeling good, take a harder class.
Yes, because I mean, each day is different. You might have just slept wrong, and you're showing up differently. I think that's a big thing that we really try and promote too, is like, be in the moment, be in the now. Don't compare to what it was like a year ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, who you were in high school. Just show up, give it your best. And if your best isn't your best overall, but it's your best for that day, awesome. That's all we care about.
At least you're moving.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you're not just you're there physically, but maybe not mentally. But maybe just that movement to help you just shake out of it, shake out of that daily funk, or you come out of it, you're kind of dragging your feet in, and I don't want to do yoga, I don't want to do spin. But then you come out feeling like, oh, great, like now you're going to tackle the world.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, that's I like seeing that when people come in and they're dragging their feet, and when they leave, they feel like $1 million, and that's awesome to see.
So tell us
that movement just creates motion and positive.
The endorphins, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Movement is medicine.
So right now,
Tricia, I see your question. We are doing home workouts right now. We're using Zoom as a platform. What we loved about that was we're able to see our clients. That was something that we really missed, having to close the studio. And we tried, Instagram Live, and we just found with Zoom we could really connect with our clients.
So that's awesome, and that's something that you could still get in as that if you're not a member of Anatomy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You start as a new person. Cool.
And that's all on our website, and we have like a scheduling app too. We have an Anatomy app where you can find pricing and booking and see a list of classes. And then our Facebook page too.
Before we jumped on to the next, I think the coolest thing, that I heard that we were just talking about was almost like we talk about when people are towards the end of their rehab and they're talking about getting into a workout or they want to continue a workout. We talk about keeping the goal. And I think you nailed it with like, why do you want to work out? Is it to go on that hike with your family? Is it to be able to get on and off the floor with your kids? And I think so many times the workout gets prioritized above the person or above what do I want to get out of this? And so I think that that's just so cool that there's that many different options, but also that awareness of, hey, it's cool to take a slow down day. Let's do some yoga. Let's get in here and modify the workout because this is going to get us towards that end goal. Having that context is huge, I think.
And your why. You have to know your why. And for some people, I think they do love to move. They love to exercise. They love to sweat. They love to challenge themselves. And that's amazing too. But I don't think that's everybody's goal. I think, sometimes it's, the motivational piece takes over and it's, I want to, lift this or do that. And then the motivation goes away. And it's like, okay, well, where's the bigger why that's keeping you going? And I mean, I can speak for myself. I was working some Olympic lifts. This was maybe like 6-7 years ago. And I have a little mild scoliosis and I was doing movements that I shouldn't have been doing. But I got competitive with the people around me. I was in a strength and conditioning class at college. I was one of the only females in the class. I felt I had to level up a little bit and show these guys what was
It always happens.
And I was demoing a lift and it wasn't, I know my body, the snatch is not the lift for me. And I knocked myself out for a good 6 months. I was in physical therapy for a good 6 months. So I think coming back to your why, I didn't need to be doing that. And I think you have to call yourself out sometimes. I say that a lot in class, being able to call yourself out when, you're not really leading with integrity or your why. And I think that's huge, huge.
We love the why. Yeah.
Yeah, we do a lot with the why. Oh, I just saw Victoria's on, almost getting ready for that.
I made me happy and I was like, oh.
I'm assuming no baby yet, Victoria. if the baby's already attending CPTv, that's awesome too.
And thank you, Lindsay. She said the trainers make them all amazing. And we really do have an incredible team. They're people that are just really passionate about their fields, but also passionate about people. And that is the biggest thing when we're looking for trainers. I think almost every single person that's ever worked with us or trained with us, they've been an anatomy. I like friends. An anatomy friend first. And then they already know, okay, this is how things kind of go here. This is a little different. So you don't have to teach them the culture because you can't really, you're either a part of that or you're not. And, not to not be inclusive, but you get it or you don't get it. And it's okay if you don't. We're not everybody's cup of tea, but it's really cool to see people, working with us for a long time. And then they're like, I want to do this. I want to be a part of this team. So we're definitely nothing without our team and our community.
Well, sounds like Tricia and I both want to be a part of that team too. Come with us. I need accountability partners. I just put it right out there. You say you got to put yourself out there, right? Candy's bringing me running tomorrow, so that's fine.
I love it.
All right, so Pat, walk us through. 1 week we have one of the biggest things. We have graduations. We celebrate our graduations. Our graduations are tough work of where you are investing your time, your healthcare benefits, and you're also trying to get to the goal. And for us on day one, we talk about what's the single most important thing for people to come to physical therapy so they can do X. So many people have to be out of their fitness routine or their workout. So some of our listeners who are looking to join something, walk us through what it is how do they find what to start with? In any gyms or specifically anatomy, how do you know where to start with a beginner, or what would you say to those who are weary of it?
I'd say, the hardest part is walking through the door at first, just taking that first step to just that first step of initially walking through the door, being vulnerable, saying, okay, what class is best? Any class is best. You don't have to be perfect your first day. We hear a lot of people saying, well, I'm not good at yoga. I can't take yoga. I'm not good at yoga right now. I'm not. I get lost in it all the time. But you just have to start. That's it. Start day one, builds on day 2, day 3, day 4, and each day builds on another. And all of a sudden it clicks, and it's awesome to see people come through the door and say, well, I'm not physically fit. I can't do this. And then they're taking 4 or 5 classes a week. So it's really awesome to see everybody, everybody's evolution from day one to day 50 to day 100. So any class is best. You just have to just show up and do what you can. You don't have to be an expert at it. You don't have to, max out on your deadlift or be the best spinner or, pull off a bird of paradise in yoga. You just have to, right? you just have to start.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a demonstration coming at all of that.
Too tight for that one. Too tight for that one.
And I would say too, like, own your injury. It doesn't make you less of a person. Like, own your limitation, own your injury. And I think the more open that communication is with your trainers, the better experience you're going to have. I mean, we've had people come in. I kid you not, this happened to me. We had a brand new client, she signs the waiver. She's new to this boot camp class. And I say, are there any injuries or limitations that I should be aware of? Nope, everything's good. Oh. She does one lunge and blows her knee out. And she had a knee replacement like 6 months previous to her coming in. So it's just like this, I don't want to share this, but then I'm giving them an exercise. If I had known, I wouldn't have had her doing any of those movements. So communication is huge and you can't be intimidated. And so we really try and keep that line of communication open. Like, let us know. Sometimes you sleep wrong and your shoulder starts acting up. It's been really good, but it's acting up. All right, so let's modify some of these movements because we have a lot of pushing today. Let's do some more pulls. So we really try and work with each client. But I would say as a client, it's so important that you are first taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's good too, because being in that situation, number one, where, hey, people are in this to help me, and then having those open lines of communication. I love the consistency thing. There was a young comic that went up and heard Jerry Seinfeld speak, and he's like, hey, how do I become a great comic like you? And Jerry Seinfeld was like, don't break the chain. He goes, what I used to do is I would just write a joke. They were awful, but every single day I wrote a joke. And that's similar. That makes me think, like, just, you've got to move. You've got to find a group of people that you'll feel supported with, that will listen to you, but just don't break the chain. Like, own your why, find a group that supports you, and then just stay consistent, because that can make a difference. Yeah.
And it's the consistency. And I think too, it's remembering that you're not going to be an expert day one. And that's not the goal. Like, let yourself be a beginner and let yourself really enjoy that process. There's something really special about starting something new, whether it be, brand new movement altogether, or a new space. Like, just kind of enjoy the process, and know that it is definitely a marathon and it's not a sprint. Whatever your goal is, consistent, don't break the chain. Like, keep, consistent, one step in front of the other.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I think everything that you guys have said, like, points to that, having that context, identifying what you want out of this long term, and then being in that supportive environment. I think that's huge. And having so many different options. I think that's another big thing that stands out is there's so much variety, and it's not that, it's got to be this workout and this is the workout we're doing no matter what. And it sounds like there's flexibility and the ability to individualize it.
And we really, I mean, I will pat ourselves on the back with that. That's been a priority since day one, is flexibility. And I think one of the biggest things I learned when I was in school for exercise science was make the program to the client, not the client to the program. Never fit the client to the program. Always make sure the program is for the client. And that always sticks with me. And I think it's really easy to get kind of pigeonholed in that, and everybody must do that. But I think that's made us better trainers when we're more flexible and agile in our programming. We have loose programming. We have a plan, but we're also aware that can change and that can shift. And that's okay.
I know one thing that a lot of your friends love are the challenges. So when you do the monthly challenges, I was fortunate to work side by side with Sarah when we were opening up her clinic. And let me
She's
tell
not
you,
competitive at all.
No, not at all.
oh my God. And I can't tell you how she was like, I'm getting this done. What was it, 30 workouts in 30 days? What
20 workouts in 30 days.
I think
And what we do is you have to hit like certain modalities. So you can't just like
X amount of yoga classes, 4 or 5. We want the balance,
and variety.
5 or 6 cycle classes, a couple lift classes.
You guys get it. I mean, that is just, I can't tell you how many overuse, sprains, strain injuries, inflammations where I'm like, well, what are you doing? Well, I'm doing this 6 days a week, every single thing. And I'm like, we just have to cross train a little bit more, or like, let's go swim.
Cross training.
Walk backwards. Like, let's get some glutes going. But and I'm going to be 100%. I didn't know all about anatomy, and now I feel foolish that this whole time you've been right around the corner. And you have
you're busy doing a lot too.
You're busy.
So
you've got a lot going on.
No, there's no excuses. It's just so amazing. And we are going to post a lot of the folks who I see who are on here, because our for one clinic in Campbell Ave is probably 1.5 miles from you. Yeah. And so a lot of our patients are in that area as well. So we will make sure I'll get the address up there, because guys, they're right around the corner and are doing some really amazing, like high variety. It's just awesome. I'm so happy that you're able to share this.
Well,
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
This was so fun. We've never really talked about this stuff.
Well, that's what we're
especially
saying.
on this platform. So this is great.
When you should have. Well, I was going to just say we're going to open it up to some questions and answers, if that's okay. Oh, thank you, Susan. They just put your website on there so they can see, and if anybody's looking. But Victoria mentioned, would you suggest the same sort of varied workout for a postpartum mamas?
I think it really depends on what you were doing beforehand. We really strongly believe in knowing your body, and if you didn't have a high risk pregnancy, you don't have any like diastasis recti, you don't have any limitations, then I think it can be safe when you're cleared to start to get back into your program. I think the important thing is also recognizing that may not be 6 weeks. That might be 8. That might be 12. I know for myself, it took me a long time to get back on the spin bike, and really strengthening my pelvic floor. That was an important thing for me. And so I think it's recognizing that like you're not. I think it's important to know you're not disabled. You're not handicapped. This isn't. I don't want anybody to be scared, but it is important to know your body. And there are really incredible people, especially in our area, that work with prenatal and postpartum clients, that's their specialty. So if you're not comfortable maybe guiding yourself or leading yourself, I think it's really important to reach out to some of these people that's what they do. I know I'll give a plug to Nora Matthew and her strength, and she's got an incredible program. So that's what she does every day, day in and day out. So connect with those people. It may not be an anatomy, and that's okay.
And I think your point about knowing your body, because I've talked to many moms who similarly, possibly they were in the hospital for a little bit longer, or possibly there was a little complication, or maybe they had increased. We see a lot of pelvic pain before in those last sort of really difficult weeks that might sort of set them back a little bit more. But it's all individual. And it sounds like, as long as you're in tune to what works best for your own body, like to your point, if you weren't doing 4 classes before a week, maybe you can go right into that.
Right. And I mean, we've had some women that have worked out their entire pregnancies at anatomy, and then they come back, 6 to 8 weeks later, and they were working out, luckily for them 9 months, into their pregnancy, which is wonderful. That may not be the case for everyone. So I think it's absolutely individualized, just knowing your body.
One question that we always get, and maybe let me know, are you primarily female, male based? So speak to the guys out there, I guess I want to say. What types of exercises and programs can you sort of offer some of our male followers?
Well, I think it's safe to say we're probably about 75%, you know, male to female, or female to male, excuse me, 75% female, 25% male.
Yeah.
But it's for everybody, you know. I remember somebody called up one day and said, "Are these girly workouts?" Well, deadlift is not a girly work. Nothing's girly about it, you know. It's strength training, you know.
Yeah.
It's moving weight. It's just movement. Yoga is for everybody. Cycling is for everybody, or it could be for everybody. You know, it's not just male or female. It's just movement. So it's our male membership has been, you know, picking up, which is great to see.
And they're cool dudes.
They're awesome, awesome guys. They're so cool. They're all laid back, and we talk about.
And it follows our philosophy that there should be, you know, just as much. It doesn't matter male or female. There should be this variety in what everybody's doing to maintain their best body, their best being. So that's great.
And honestly, like we'll have, if just for a loose example, we have a squat station, and we have someone that's really working on strength. They can work on strength, and then the next person comes around and they're like, you know what, I want to work on like slowing my movement down, and so
work on form and technique.
And so everyone's doing all these different things together, and that's the coolest thing.
I think that's all, because like coming out of PT school, the way it's like, oh, you're a neuro PT, oh, you're a peds PT, like pediatrics, oh, geriatrics, oh, you're a sports. And really, once you start to get into it, like, these are human bodies, and this is how they move a little bit differently. But like you guys said, movement is movement. And I think that was a really good question, Eric, because if anything, I would go out playing sports through high school and college. Guys are probably the ones that bring their ego to the gym the most. And so appreciating that, like I think it was Pat that said, hey, guys probably more so than women could benefit from yoga and flexibility. Like
totally. When I first started yoga, I couldn't touch my toes.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't just hinge forward and touch my toes. My hamstrings were so tight. And, you know, I recognized that. I practiced and practiced and practiced. And then one day I bent over and touched my toes, and I said, wow, it's working. You know, my hips aren't tight. A friend of mine just reached out. He was in Indiana when we went live on these Zoom classes, and he asked me about yoga, and I said, bro, just take it. He's like, but I'm not good at it. I'm like, nobody's good at it at first. Just take it, just move. He's like, man, my hips are so tight. I said, just take the class, you know. And he texted me the minute the class ended, said, that was great. Humbling. I didn't know what I was doing, but I feel good. I feel so much looser, physically, mentally. I feel grounded. So it's awesome. It's great.
It's good to have that variety and knowing that one thing can help another. If you get more flexible, hey, maybe your back doesn't bother you as much. Hey, maybe you're now stronger because your hips are more mobile, so you can get into that deadlift position better. Yeah. So I think having that appreciation that one hand helps the other is cool too.
I always love when people are like, oh, you know, my back's really hurting me. And I know that they've been like training 6 days a week. And I'm like, so how was your yoga practice? And they're like, oh, I haven't been. I'm like, oh, so you're foam rolling then, right? No, I'm not doing it. I'm like, okay, so there we go. And then they take a yoga and they're like, oh, okay, this feels a little bit better.
I feel good.
And I'm that way too. Like, I think that's the first thing we kick off is the warm up and the cool down and the stretch and the recovery, but it's so important. And Candy, I love your question. I'm going to give you my real answer.
Which one are you answering?
So any short-term advice / motivation to do these online workouts? Hard to get excited to work out glancing at a laptop. Number one, I feel you. Number two, it's not going to be exciting. And I think if you just accept that, like, it's a laptop, it's not the same, lessen the expectation of it and just go into it knowing you're going to feel better just by moving. I think that's the biggest thing. And that was really hard for us in the beginning because I'm like, yeah, but I can't see anybody. And it's like, yeah, it's all different now. And so making the best of it, I think for me, creating a little space at home where I can move, that I feel like I can, close the door and have some downtime. If I want it, I think that's important, like setting up your space. And I know that seems like a little silly, but knowing that you have a place where you can move and sweat and you don't need to set it up every time, that just takes away some of that work just to log on. Versus we have people sending us pictures of their home setups. And it's so fun. And some people are like in their kitchen and some people are in their basement. And one person has like a setup outside when it's nice. And I think it makes it a little bit more exciting. And it's temporary. It's temporary. It's not forever.
Not forever.
And it sounds like even some of the people who are viewing tonight, and same to those who, like, I haven't seen some patients who are still seeing us on CPTv. They're like, I just love seeing you on Sunday night. But similarly, people had mentioned like, oh, hi, because they're seeing you, so I know it's a computer screen, Candy. I get it as well. But it's not that it's a virtual, like, it's not, it's still Eileen and Pat and the other trainers. So at least you can sort of hype it up to see the trainers who, you miss. And that, I'm a big sort of, it's tough. We've been open throughout this whole thing, but I like physical touch and I'm constantly hugging patients and how are you? And I feel so restrained and it's tough and I know why we're doing it. But so similar to how they can't wait to get out of the laptop, I can't wait to hug somebody.
You see people in person and you're like, oh, it's like people.
You're real.
And I think that's the biggest thing too, if you can get, and it doesn't work for everyone, we try and recommend people getting onto a live workout at least once a week. Just get on live, especially with Zoom. You can see other people sweating and moving, and it just makes you feel like you're not alone. When there's, 40 other people behind their screens too, like it just makes you feel like, okay, we're in this together. We're going to get through this together, and it's okay.
One question that we have, it's a spin-off of Sue's, but cardio. So how do you build cardio? And because I'm obviously the spin classes are a ton of cardio. So is that your main cardio? Like,
so that's our main cardio, like straight cardio. Like if you want, I great cross training for runners. We have some triathletes, and then people that just really love moving to music, and that's me. Just love sweating to the beat. I run to the beat. I bike to the beat. I think when you just get excited about music and sweat, that is just like the perfect combination. But I would say, and I think you would agree, our training classes definitely have a cardio component. It's just not your typical cardio that you might think, like sustained cardio, like a run or a jog or cycling. It's kind of like intermittent bursts of high intensity movement.
So do you recommend, Dave Hostig mentioned, what about postpartum dads who took the third trimester off? Dave, I couldn't let that comment go unnoticed. What do you say? So, but guess what? He's not the only one. We're not postpartum dads right now, but I think your answer to that was get in the door, right?
Yes. Sometimes just like signing up and don't sign up and not show up. Sign up and show up. That's the important thing. And technically, you're still postpartum dads. It's after baby, your dad. Yeah. Like technically, we're still postpartum too. So
that's so true. How do you ease into yoga? That's what that was Sue's question. So how can you teach yourself to enjoy it?
So I think with yoga, it's really, and I say this in the beginning of every class, lose all expectations you have in this class. And basically this is adult Simon Says. And I think if you can just simplify it and just look at it as like, we're just going to move. It's not about being good at it. You're there to quiet your mind. You're there to put your cell phone away. You're there to breathe. You're there to stretch. And maybe for some to deepen that practice and take that a lot deeper. But on its most simplest terms, you're literally there to just breathe and move. I've had clients who have sat in child's pose, which is just a really light stretch on their mat for 15 minutes. And after class, they were like, I needed that. Like I actually needed to just sit and I needed to just be, and they just wanted to be in a darker room and just take some time to disconnect. I think the most powerful thing about yoga, you're not in front of your phone. You can't really see anybody else around you. And you're just giving yourself that gift of time and quiet and sometimes grounding. So I think not expecting to be good at it, the first class. And I think not expecting to be good at it ever, but just really each class tuning into, oh, I'm able to reach up a little bit higher, or I'm able to lean a little bit to the right or the left. And I think just looking at those tiny milestones and really connecting to the small wins is the biggest thing. We had someone ask if they could sit in the back of a yoga class and watch it. Don't be that person. No, you cannot sit in the back of the class and watch everybody exercise. It's creepy and it's not okay.
Yeah.
And honestly, I have told people, go on YouTube, look at like what a yoga class would be like, Google like yoga class or, recovery class or what is vinyasa? Like just do your own little research. There's so much on there, and maybe that'll eliminate some of the fears and like the jitters of what that is.
I love that, like, don't judge yourself based off of the other person in the class or the instructor. Just judge yourself based off how you were yesterday.
Yes.
Like, how can you get a little bit better? Like, keep it internal. Like, back to, it sounds like a broken record, but like what attracts you to yoga? What do you want to get out of yoga? And a lot of people, I think, Eileen, you hit the nail on the head. Like, as a society, we're glued to our technology. Everything is dings and buzzes and alerts and messages. And having that time to just shut down and shut your mind off is great. And who cares if you've never done it? Like, that's day one. And then how do you do the next time, and just start your own internal kind of journey. Don't worry about anybody else.
And I think the biggest thing that comes up is everybody's going to be looking at me if I don't know what I'm doing. Everybody's worried about themselves. Like 9 times out of 10, everybody's only worried about
everybody's
how
in
are
their
my
own little
hands
bubble.
and like
They're not
my
looking
hair.
at somebody next to them, or
So I think remembering, like, being in your own space. And I mean, I saw Kim on here. We've had this conversation before. Maybe your yoga is learning to disconnect from everybody else. Like maybe your reason for practicing is because there's so much comparison and judgment on yourself. Like maybe your yoga and your work is to just practice tuning into you. And that's what that yoga class is for you.
1% better,
Yeah.
Elena.
That's Joe's, another one of his, what does she call them?
Not mine, but yeah. Just, we talk about getting 1% better every day, like just a little bit of improvement. It doesn't have to seem like a big thing, but like maybe the first step is just log on to YouTube and check out a yoga video. Like that just made you 1% better because you're one step closer to going from there. And then over time, 1% add up to big differences.
Yeah.
All right, so I wanted to just make sure here. I was going to look if I could, because I do want to give this gift card out. We're already at an hour. I don't know how this happens, but it does. It's pretty crazy. So I was going to just type in the comments here, and then maybe we can go over just to make sure I got everybody who shared it. So then I have a method of picking who the winner is. So I guess, Eileen and Pat, if you could just go over, because I read what you sort of said to us, and I think the last thing, I'm going to read one thing because I thought it was pretty amazing what you mentioned for the answer to this. So for the listeners, you said fitness and exercise is so general and there isn't one way to do it. For some, it's being in a gym, and for others, it's going for a run or a hike. The important thing is finding something you love, you connect with, and not overcomplicating it. I love that part right there. So whether it's weight training, practicing yoga, anything outside, but mind and body need movement. So if you could just sort of go into, I know we said it, but almost to sort of summarize what, that sounds like it's a bit of your why, but
yes,
go into that a little bit more.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the body piece is huge. We want to move well. And then this mental piece we kind of forget about. And I think that's the important thing, is remembering that we're doing this to relieve stress, to feel better in our lives, to show up better for not just our family and our friends, but for ourselves too. And that's been a personal struggle for me, to be really honest, is anxiety. I think being a small business owner, you feel a lot of pressure. There's this need for perfection. So for me, my movement for me is just relieving stress in whatever way I need in that moment. And sometimes it is legit going for a walk outside in my backyard with my daughter. And sometimes it's going into the gym and having a really high intensity sweaty workout. What I did say in that, don't overcomplicate it. And I think that's where we get stuck. We have to have the program, and what days am I going to go? What times am I going to go? And I'll have the right workout apparel and sneakers. And it's like, you don't need any of that. You don't even need anatomy. I know that sounds like a disservice to us, but like you don't. You just need to find something that you love a little bit. You may not be obsessed with it, but something that you're like, okay, I can enjoy this.
I think you hit the nail on the head. We hear that all the time. It's like, you know what? I'm going to start my workout on Monday. Like Monday's always the day, right? It's never Tuesday. No one's like, hey, I'm going to start my workout on Tuesday. It's always Monday.
The first Sunday, or Sunday's prep for Monday, and then January.
Right.
It's not January, forget it. Like, might as well wait till next year. And I think that's
great.
You can change at any time. You can change whatever path you're on in any moment, in any second, in any day. It doesn't have to be a Monday. It doesn't have to be the first. In any moment, you can change direction.
That's great. All right, Air.
I know. I'm doing it. I'm trying. All right, I think I got everybody, though. I think I got everybody who's on here. I just think it's amazing that we're doing this anyway. So what I was going to have you do, Eileen or Pat, I wrote all of these names out who shared it for us tonight. Whoops. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but I was going to move my hand up and down. It's about as technical I can get, nice and slow. And I'm just going to have you say stop wherever I am at. Hopefully I got everybody. If not, I apologize. But this is the first, that we're doing this live. So, all right. If you want, I'll have you let me know. Don't say it yet. I'm going to start going up and down.
Are you going to close your eyes there? You got to close your eyes. Come on, what is this? You can't keep
I wasn't going to. They don't know. I'm not stopping it.
You want me to do it?
You do it.
You want me to do it?
Yeah. 4,
3, 2, 1, stop.
All right. It's Stephanie Crudo Bushy.
Yes, all right. Yeah. Stephanie. All right, Steph.
Is she's already a member, correct? Or is she not a member? Is Stephanie, are you a member yet? If not, this is awesome.
That's great.
Excellent.
I'm checking.
Oh, I hope, I almost wish it was, maybe possibly a new member, a new person.
No, we don't have any Stephanie B.
Yay!
I didn't think I felt terrible if she was. I was like, I don't think we do, but
yeah, I know. Well, that's tough, especially so. Well, that is so awesome. So I'm good. Oh, hi, Stephanie. Are you? We're trying to make sure here, but are you already a member, or are you possibly going to be a new member right now? Woo!
Yeah. Awesome. All right.
Email us. We will help you out. Get on the website, and if it's not now, when we open, we're here to help whenever. So there's no rush.
That's so cool. Well, guys, thank you so much. This has been.
Thank you, guys. This was awesome. Thank you.
Hopefully, if anything,
have adult conversations. Yeah. This is really nice. Oh, and tomorrow's Stephanie's birthday. Happy birthday.
Really? Oh, awesome.
Oh my God, you were meant to win.
The stars have aligned.
Yeah. Love it.
Oh, that's so perfect. I just got goosebumps. I mean, it really is. It's aligning great people with their community, and that's your biggest thing, and that's our thing. And so the second you said, let's give it to them, like that, so thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you both.
This was so fun. This was so fun.
If you guys liked this episode, let us know with a like or love up there. We have talked about, so we're having, this is season 1. We have, what is this? We have 3 more episodes, but if we would definitely, I was even thinking about this today in the shower, maybe Pat and Eileen could put us through a workout one of these times.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So, we'll do it with you.
Yeah, for sure. That'll be fun.
All together.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm already sweating. Maybe I'll have already done a few yoga classes or something with the anatomy, but really the possibilities are endless. You guys are amazing people, amazing parents.
Thank you so much. You as well.
Thank you guys. Great to see you. Great to talk to you guys.
Nice to align with other amazing community members. This is great.
Awesome. If any of the people who are still watching have any questions, you can always, I'm going to I have these things waiting right here. Oh my gosh, sorry. Here are their handles and all of their information about their gym. You know, filmmaking and editing and all this stuff is pretty hard. So if you want any other information, follow Anatomy Life on Instagram or at Anatomy Life, at Eileen.Fitzgibbons. Come on, ticker, at Patrick G. Boyle. And then there's their website. They have so much to offer, all these different classes we talked about, but really it's about what's going on up here and getting there first, it sounds like.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, everyone, have a great week. We'll see you again next week.
You all
Thanks,
so
guys.
much.
Thank you so much. Great to see you. Thanks for
Thanks a
having
lot,
me.
guys.
A lot of
Stay
fun.
on,
Thank
okay?
you.
Don't get off yet.
Okay.
All right, bye, everybody.